Alrighty. Hala Shazam, everybody. I'm MJ. We're going to do a quick little daily reading for you on April 3rd, 2024. I enjoy getting to know you guys by doing these readings. I offer the monthly readings, and my patrons get ad-free first access and exclusive content. Divine guidance and loving clarity is my intention. Divine guidance and loving clarity. So let's just see what we get. I'm making a few changes to hopefully make it easier and better and more enjoyable for you to view. So I'm going to endeavor to keep going either on the Zoom or I want to say landscape. I was just having some technical difficulties with my phone. For some reason, my phone, isn't it weird how these glitchy things happen with technology legit after a couple years? My computer, my laptop is like 8 years old and it's really like starting to fail me. So divine guidance and loving clarity. I'm a minimalist though, and I don't like to have to keep buying things all the time. And yeah, okay. Let's get into it. April 3rd, divine guidance and loving clarity. You guys are awesome. Thank you for being my internet friends. Thanks for supporting the brand All to Love. It's really my purest intention that we can create a more loving world by being more loving creators and acknowledging increasingly that requires us to kind of step out of this weird survival mode, like blaming and attacking and fighting, and like we have to kind of evolve into more compassionate beings, which is a very kind of weirdly deep process. Although I do think it's in us. I think it's in our DNA. I think it's in the coding of the seed of our own intention as a soul. Okie dokie. Divine guidance and loving clarity. Really, again, I'll reiterate, happy to be here. Super thankful for all of you. I hope that you're doing okay. I hope that this day brings you some juicy joy. It's my mother's birthday, so happy birthday to Frances. The I'm just super duper aware of all the polarity of our healing and how our familial relationships are all at once these profound, loving relationships, possibly, but then also the polarity of that, like what is life? And these people we choose to be part of it with us, and how we learn and grow. Divine guidance. So I'm an intuitive, like I just pin that or point that out to you. I'm an intuitive reader. So just then, as I could feel it. The body was like, pull that card. So that's intuition. It's moving to calmer waters for you guys. Divine guidance and loving clarity. What are the other energies? Divine guidance, loving clarity. So this is a 6 of sword, moving to calmer waters. I possibly Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. There's air sign, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, moving to calmer waters. Are you moving to calmer waters with this person? I don't know. They look like they're having some major financial difficulties. 9 of Pentacle reverse, King of Swords, next to the 9 of Pentacle reverse. This person might have had, if this is, again, we can be talking about you. These are daily general readings. Take what resonates, leave the rest. These cards and us people on the internet, there's no power over, right? You are your own power. I always want to permission people to empower that, and look after yourself and not be buying into people telling you that they can create all the successes for you, or like that they have some secret key, anyway. A lot of scam energy, by the way. I did a live tarot / guided collective energy sharing over a week ago. Actually, it was on that lunar eclipse on March 25th. The energy is coming through for the collective, weirdly. Although why is it weird? I don't know, because it feels kind of like normal or mundane, it's not like high vibe spiritual. But a lot of the energies were like, beware of scams. Beware of scams. Like, beware of buying things on the internet. Beware of, check your accounts. I know I've had about 4 or 5 different credit cards sent to me last week just because like I keep having these charges, and I'm like, what the fuck? And they're like, yeah, like Apple Pay. Oh my God. So even when you change over a credit card, that person, whoever is stealing from you, they can still just like cross it over. So it's like digital next level fraud. Oh, anywho, okay. So beware of that. I need more guidance for the King of Sword. There's this person is definitely having financial difficulties, and I don't think there's communication, or there isn't like so this is a love situation. Two of Cups reverse, Pentacle reverse. All the Pentacles are reversed. There is a 10 of Pentacles technically because we have a 1 and a 9, but this feels like maybe a beginning and a culmination. But I have to highlight this person is in the reverse, which would tell me they're either not able to tell the truth. They might not be telling the truth about money. So you might be thinking they have more money, or they might like to give the impression of having more money than they have. I feel like you got to take your things and move to calmer waters. This is the 6 of Sword energy. Like you might have to, there could be kids, maybe. Because I always think there's like little children in that boat that the person is directing in the 6 of, this could be like wife and mom, or you know what I mean? Mommy and kid in the boat kind of thing. But this is essentially taking our most important things and moving on. Let's get some more energy here. Divine guidance and loving clarity. Divine guidance and loving clarity. I'm still having a what's this love situation? This is in the dumpster. As in, like, this is a tough situation. There's not. Okay, so there's some. Okay, so moving to calmer waters. There's got to be some sort of integral focus here on moving to calmer waters, taking new beginnings, moving towards something with a little bit more grounded, slow moving energy, but intentional energy, rather than grandiosity, or rather than getting swept up in, oh my God, I love you so much, and we're so perfect together. There's something about, you just got to be clear about what you want and move forward toward it. So the Knight of Cups could be like, there's some romance here. But it feels a bit like jarred, or like difficult, or like who, say it's this King of Swords trying to make amends, or trying to be like, I want to take you out on a romantic date. They're having to like downgrade themselves or something. And that's where it can feel a bit like, because then I think if they're not presenting themselves as this super abundant King of Swords, you're still gonna have the vibratories. If they're just a Knight of Cups, if they don't have much money, but they have a lot of love. This could be a brand new person if some of you are moving away from an entangled situation that has risen and fallen. So started out shiny, new, happy, we love each other forever, and then there's a bunch of losses, possibly lies. It doesn't look like betrayal because there's no 10 of Swords, but this is still like, like a difficult situation because things aren't working out for you, for the King of Swords, but there is an Ace of Swords. So there's something here about, you've got to get yourself to calmer waters. You've got to be responsible for yourself, for your tribe, your pod, your people. Move yourself to calmer waters and get that fresh new clarity perspective. Some of you, I feel like this is like you having to rise above a situation. It doesn't mean burning bridges. This is something else that I'm super duper aware of. Like, the better we are at holding space for ourselves, for people, for sometimes we just really don't have to have all the conversations we think we need to have. Sometimes we don't need to necessarily go down the route we think we need to go down. Blah, blah, blah. We simply need to be present and keep doing that inner work, right? Keep kind of shining light within self to know the direction we ourselves are moving in, because we're responsible. This could be part of the shift too. Why King of Swords over here is like becoming a knight. They might not have been as responsible as what they presented. Ooh, that's an interesting token. Yeah, they might be kind of like realizing, oh shit, like I've lied about this, or this wasn't quite true, or I can see why this person has held back. Ha 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 ha. Star card. Star. This is like a healing energy. Okay. That's so often the case. I really res with someone called Rasa Leela Healing. In the new paradigm perspective, in with regards to these relationships, it's not the Hollywood version of fall in love, princess gets saved or whatever, blah. um, fall in love happily ever after. This is not the paradigm. The paradigm of relationship is healing the heart, to me personally, and someone like Ross Lewis. These dynamic relationships are invoking and or inciting a deeper healing across the collective, which is bringing us into greater unification. Things don't, these so-called romantic relationships are not, there's still I think a primordial outpour, as in a very intrinsic, deep sense of love and collaboration and unification and being connected and being seen and being heard. Of course, we all need each other. But what we're coming out of is the fantasy illusion, or this idea that like that we possess one another, or that once we feel the love, that's it. Or balancing dynamic. So there's some kind of fresh new perspective that this situation going through a bit of a dipperoo. Okay, things not going great. You're in this dynamic, you're in this love situation. This is a love situation, but it's also possibly connected to money. So this could be a loving partnership that you're actually going into business with, or you're in a business partnership with somebody that there's also a romantic affiliation with. So you and maybe the child, or maybe an idea, you're going to have to move yourself to calmer waters, because the person you're connected to is having a bit of a ego death. Maybe they're not as wealthy as they thought. Maybe they're not as masterful as they thought. And they're going to have to like bring it down a notch and then present that new start. Actually, I'm sorry, I was a douchebag. What if we do this instead? And do what you like with genders and all that kind of stuff. This is somebody who somewhat lied. Again, I'm not feeling some sort of nefarious, like deceptive energy. Maybe they just thought it would go a different way, or they thought this money would come through, or they thought this opportunity would come through. They thought this thing would go, blah, blah, blah. And that was never the point. Remember, the star card came through. There was always destined to be deeper karmic healing within the situation, right? Deeper karmic healing within the situation. That's what you're experiencing. That's why you're probably like, oh my God, I have to move to calmer waters to let stuff go. Six of Wands success card. Let's pull up. I'm gonna just grab a card from each deck, at least one. There's that Knight of Cups again. Maybe there's some Venetian energy happening in the skies. So some of us might have a bit of a romantic vibratory. There could be some nice I think there's something with Neptune and Venus. Neptune and Venus energy, and that could be all at once, like a little bit delusional, deceptive. So like, for example, going out with our loved ones and having one too many drinks, or partying just a little winkle too hard this weekend, and feeling the kind of watery realms of delusion and or too much escapist tendency, right? Divine guidance and loving clarity. Let's get some final messages. Divine guidance and loving clarity for the Ultra Love Collective. Hi, you all. I can see some of you there. This is a new beginning. It's already kicking off. And judgment. You've already taken the leap. And now you got to anchor in, you got to ground in to commit to that process, right? Until you get the final call to step you into something new. There is potentially, romance is looking up right here, but some of you are feeling really like reserved. And again, this can be connected to love and money stuff, Venus. In Neptune, delusion, right? Neptunian energy is often kind of connected to Hollywood and these sort of like mirage, the Black Mirror, right? Like, what are we seeing? What's real? What isn't? But then there's also this profound psychic, spiritual awakening happening within that Neptunian energy, crossing over those final degrees of our collective zodiac wheel, right? So there's an aspect of our own collective delusion that is legitimately dying away, merging into the voidal nothingness to birth a greater, higher octave of our spiritual psychic essence as a humanity, hence Neptune moving into Aries. We wake up, we move forward, we take charge, we take action, but from a new paradigm, not from the old Piscean energetics of having to be dominated and give power to the domination force. We are that power, and we're working on unifying that power point to become more whole, to become more like of a shared unified, well, like love and peace and beauty and la la la. Challenge, yes, but not such a atrocious and divisive and oppressive and violent challenge. Those levels of challenges, I think, are such of the lowest of the low base tone from a really corrupted power source that really doesn't have its own connection. It has to feed off of the connection of other. It has to kind of usurp and entangle itself through deceptive tactics to get into that power. I say it now, return to source. This is a spiritual connection. That's why we talk about having these spiritual connections, because the delusions can be pretty rife out there. And there can continue to be a fair bit of what's that word? Yes, snake. I look down, I see Cobra card. I'm like, yeah, deception. People snaking their way and pretending to be one thing when it's not that at all. Divine guidance and living clarity. 2 more cards for the collective. Oh my gosh, there's something really profound. Source. You got to find the source. Divine spark, I call it, right? It's this point of recognition, of knowing who we are. It's the I am presence, kind of, it's there. It's always there. It's always there. It's always there. However, if we're focused too much on the externals, if we're too caught up, and I had this huge liberating awakening just yesterday. God, that's it. Like we think we want this, and the moment our ego attaches to outcome, so annoying. You got to forgive ourselves, because in many ways I see a lot of my past projections or expectations to be delusionally anchored into my wounded child. I want to save the world. I want to make everything a better place. I want to, but see, it's so very, very egoic. As much as it might think like it's coming from a pure intention, it's actually coming from a slightly wounded projection of a false reality that's more to do with my winning than it is about this sort of like divine truth of how to work with manifestation. And that's for a lot of us why we're here, is to work it. Is it worth it? But more on the manifestation level. Like true. Like Jesus just made a whole bunch of fishies appear to his people, wine and fishies. Like, I think that for a lot of us, that's the authentic truth. It's not about manifesting through manipulation or deceptive tactics. It's about manifesting the purest, most earnest heart's desire, one and for all, so that we can lead one another, so that we can be reflections for one another, not still be so attached and anchored into the old false economy, which really only serves to enslave not just our beingness, but our psyche, our soul. That's why people talk about things like spiritual warfare. It's all contained. What we see out is within, within is without. If there are wars being played out on the physical dimensional of this earth, there are wars within the psychic realms. There are wars within the void, right? Power plays. And yet, the deepest recognition is that it's all contained in love. It's a continual dance of our own expression. And yes, it's painful, but look at the expansiveness of the universe. Look at how it never ends. Why would we think that we're only capable of like sadness and happiness? I am sad, I am happy, and that is all that the human has the experience. No, no, we are the source. We are the God, we are the brethren. We are the brothers and sisters of Jesus and Mary, and also the worst of the worst. This is part of the big freedom break. Divine guidance, loving clarity. I get little messages. Divine guidance, loving clarity. My love is supreme. My lover supreme. Expand, Sagittarius. And then just before I pick this card, there's another essence of community. We are a community, right? And this community, right? We commune, we come together, we dialogue. And that's something that's part of why I think I'm being guided to open up a space locally, is that there's something about curating intentional space to congregate, to gather, and to practice in peace. so I can share through Patreon, through internet, through community, but I'm increasingly realizing that having the practical ground control, having the spaces, having the places where we can go and garden or learn about food or practice breath or practice, these things that for a lot of us have been just the pillars, the cornerstones of our ability to stay somewhat balanced or somewhat present, even in the face of great adversity or poverty or deception, lack, all of those things, neglect. I don't know about you guys, but the fucking neglect has just been, and I think that really is born out of these deeper abandonment wounds that the collective carries. And then if we're always kind of in this perpetual state of being fear of abandonment, neglect is this ongoing like, oh, because it requires us to step up into like protecting ourselves and or also not protecting, like, but standing up for ourselves. Because sometimes it's those difficult conversations where we have to stand up for ourselves that is the game changer. That's the intuitive sword speaking. Once we step into that energetic, then if things like, so if we really trust our intuition and say what we mean, the response from other will often change the game. So it become evidently clear, oh yeah, I definitely don't want to work with that person or don't want to go and date that person because me being honest made them attack me or whatever. Versus like just being our authentic self and letting people respond how they want to respond and then letting it work from there. So we're reorienting our constellation as a humanity via a more intrinsic and or depth of connection. It is voidal as well. It's like moving through us. It's birthing through us. It's not like a mentally manipulated thing. It's not an egoic construct. It's a full, because ego is like a fraction versus the presence and the totality of the being of who we are. So it's more about just bring that little ego off to the side and be like, thank you, ego, you have your place and I adore you and but I'm not going to listen to your duality, your supremacy or inferiority. I'm going to just be here now and let you work for me when I need you. Right? Which is always there. We're not going to do without it, but it's like, let's tame the beast of the egoic construct. And I don't know if I've ever been able to really go there because it's always been super important, but then I've often had that, this is where those abusive or slightly manipulative constructs where again, people would play power games or power trips and almost use the ego game like against me, or it's like, you keep your ego in check. And I would have to take a while just checking in with myself and be like, but is this coming from my ego? And more often than not, I'd tune right back in and be like, but no. And then I'd suddenly think, but I'm doing this and this is what I want to do and I'm being authentic and blah, blah, blah. And if you don't like it, you don't have to follow my brand. You don't have to like my stuff. You don't have to go out of your way to tell me who I am to you. So if anything, it's often a reflection, especially when we have to like take action to put somebody in their place and them. That's more to do with our own ego and how we want to try to control and oppress other people to suit our own egoic agenda. It's really interesting stuff when we really from a pure intent or an earnest intent try to unpack it, because it's the clarity and the wisdom of the heart, right? In a unified field with our mental. So the intelligence of the mind is inherent. If anything, what we're expanding into is a more an ability, and this is happening everywhere anyway, with emotional alchemy and shadow work and the increasing awareness of healing ancestral trauma and letting the emotional body purge and blah, blah, blah. There's a greater wisdom and intelligence that comes through the heart. We can be analytical, we can be intellectual, great. But there's a limitation to that intellect if it's disconnected from feeling. And that's part of the Piscean age, is that we've had to disconnect from feeling to survive. In such a way, people, they have to work, work. People can't feel. And that's I'll be straight up, it's been over 10 years of conscious shadow work in this girl's reality, and I recognize that over the years there are people that they have children and they have lives that are not going to afford them the time, because I would have days or hours of just into the body. Like that's what I mean by all these deep, ugly cries, is that I would, yeah, so much sort of depth of sacred solitude to purge and heal and observe the emotional field clear itself out. And after all these years and hitting up some of the deepest neglect and abandonment pain that I didn't even know would exist, but the depth of grief, but it was a baby's grief, so it's just like fuck. Moving through those layers of depth and observing my reality, it's still not very, I'm still not able to kind of explain it properly or like really hone in. But what I'm aware of is that relieves itself, as in, if you just trust the process. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm not even saying head into that. I'm saying if you're in it, it will pass. It's just going to take time. I can't, I don't know what to say other than all of us have a different sort of bank of emotional karma and or simply karma. It's all happening in the here now. And we unify or consolidate that by purging and clearing what we no longer need and or simply what's coming up. And so the sovereignty of our soul is consolidating, pulling in different extended or fractured timelines, right? To bring us more into this point of power in the here and now, to have us experience what we're here to experience rather than really not be very creative or powerful, because there's parts of us that's existing on lots of different timelines and dimensions and not really fully being here. So there's an essence of our ability to fully be here. I think that is what's going to allow us to break on through to the other side of the paradigm. Anywho, lots of ramble noodles. I love you guys so much. Thank you for being my internet friends. Thank you for liking and subscribing. Those of you that are here with me, hala hala, mega heart love vibratory. Thank you for your guys' comments. I think you might know who you are, but one of your guys' comments about going live inspired me to just go live for these dailies when I can. And again, my Patreons get ad-free first access. I usually share little meditation messages, guidance, and often is the case that the Patreons will get the weekly collective readings exclusive, and or they also definitely get the monthly readings quite a bit before the rest of you. So what up? Hey, doctor. You guys have a great way, a little bit. Appreciate you all. Enjoy yourselves, and don't forget to check out the merch if you fancy a little bit of a vibratory sweatshirt. Have a good one, you guys. Thank you so much.